Okay, just want to do a real quick instructional video on how to update your code from GitHub. These instructions, I'm going to be using the antenna tracker, since this is one that we have made recent changes to, and we will be doing updates to this. But these instructions can be used for any of our folders that are connected to Git and GitHub, like RFD ground station. You can get updates, everything on that. So first thing, let's make sure we have internet connection. You will need to go to GitHub to get the code, so make sure that your computer, you don't have static IP set for ad hoc or the Ubiquity network. I'm going to go to MSU's GitHub page. This will be a handy page to know how to find later. So in the search, you can just type in MSU-Borealis. And it's naturally going to search for repositories. We want to look for users. This MSU Borealis is the user that has most of the code for the Eclipse ballooning project. And in there is the code for antenna tracker. And in here is where you can see where different changes and everything are. I'm not going to go into a whole GitHub tutorial. I just want to show you real quickly how to update your code from GitHub. If you want to research GitHub or learn more about GitHub, there's plenty of resources online. But now that we know that we have an internet connection, I want to go to the antenna tracker folder and right click on it. Say git bash here. Bash is just a shell. It's like a terminal shell. And once we're inside here, we want to look at the prompt and make sure this is your file path where you are. Make sure that you're inside the antenna tracker folder. We're going to type git status. What this is going to do is we're basically looking to see that this folder is connected to GitHub. And when we talk about a repository is just something that version control is monitoring that folder. You can think of a repository as just a folder that the version control is watching. So this here is the normal message when everything is up to date locally and everything is working. This tells us that we do have a Git repository watching this folder. Now if you get any kind of error here, like a fatal, not a Git repository, so right now I'm going to go here to the desktop, type git status. It says fatal, not a Git repository. If you get that, you're either not inside the right folder or your folder is not watching, it's not being watched by Git and it's not watching GitHub. If you get this error, we're going to start over from scratch. I'll give some instructions later on how to start from scratch. But right now, if you're connected to the internet and you get the status that looks good, you're not getting any errors, make sure that we are inside the antenna tracker folder. We're going to type git pull. What this is going to do is pull the current version of everything off of GitHub. And this is why you need an internet connection. It will need to get on the internet to download everything from GitHub. So now everything has been updated in our antenna tracker folder to what the most current version of everything is. So if we go inside the antenna tracker folder, version 4 or version 6, right now these are the same. They did start out as different versions, but right now it really doesn't matter which one you use. We might get rid of one of these and use just one, but right now version 6 and 4 are exactly the same. Now when you update your code, you will have to edit a line where you have to put your IMEI number for your Iridium modem. So you can just right click on it, edit with Notepad or whatever text editor you use. And if you go down to around lines 167, 168, you'll see the stuff that starts the database connection. Now this is what changed. This host used to be something different, the user and the password. This is what just updated. So this is directing your antenna tracker to the new database. Now down here on line 174, right around line 174, the IMEI number is filled in with all X's. You're going to have to replace these X's with your IMEI number. Whatever your IMEI number is must go in here, or else your antenna tracker will not follow your balloon. We put all these X's in here just so that if you did try to run it without putting your IMEI number in there, it would give you an error. It wouldn't be following the wrong modem. So there's a 15-digit number that goes in here. And that's where your IMEI number goes. And that's it. You're updated with the newest code. So from then on, all you'll have to do is go into your Git Bash window, for just to right-click Antenna Tracker, say Git Bash. That's what opens up this little window. You can just always hop in there and type in git pull, and it'll grab your code. If it's already up to date and you have the newest version, it'll tell you already up to date. But just remember to go back in here and change, make sure that you enter your IMEI number. Right around line 174, make sure that we add your IMEI number. Okay, now if you got an error, let me delete that. If you got any kind of error to where you're not connected to GitHub, we're going to start from scratch. Or let's say something happened to this folder, and this folder got screwed up somehow. So the Antenna Tracker folder, we're going to delete this. If there's anything in here that you want to keep, make sure you pull it out of there and save it somewhere else, or you can rename this folder. But if you ever want to start from scratch, let's say something happened with this folder, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to delete the entire Antenna Tracker folder. You can go back to GitHub on the Antenna Tracker repository. So from MSU Borealis, go to Antenna Tracker. Over here it says clone or download. We're going to go to this little clipboard to copy this little command here. It's basically a URL to our repository. We're going to copy that to our clipboard. Now back on your desktop, right click, Git Bash here. We're going to type git clone. And here, paste won't work inside this window. You have to do Shift Insert. So do Shift Insert to paste in the URL and hit Enter. Now this is going to download the newest version of everything that is in the Antenna Tracker, and you'll see just created a new Antenna Tracker folder on my desktop with everything in it. Now remember, you'll still have to go in if you started from scratch and you deleted that folder, or you didn't start with that folder, or you just did a new clone of a new repository. It's going to be exactly how it is on GitHub. So you'll have to go in here and enter in your IMEI number. Just real quick, I can show you with RFD. So the RFD ground station folder. Let's say that this got screwed up somehow, or it's not following the GitHub repository. We're going to delete this. So if you have any pictures in here or anything here that you want to keep, make sure that you save it. Here we got one with Burke with his head right next to the camera. Let's save that. And the rest of this, I'm going to delete this entire folder. RFD ground station, I'm going to delete it. Okay, so now inside Git, we're going to clone that repo again. So if we go to MSU Borealis and find the RFD ground station repository, that will have all the code in it for the ground station. So inside here, we're going to do the same thing. Get to the RFD ground station. Let's say clone or download, and we're going to copy the URL to our clipboard. I'm going to go back to Git, or Git prompt, type in git clone, Shift insert to paste. And that put a new RFD ground station on our desktop. Make sure these two pictures are in there, or you have a filler, a placeholder in there that's with the same name. Now you got all the code from GitHub. Now remember, on RFD, inside here you got the COM port number. If you update anything from GitHub, remember it's not going to know what COM port number you have. So in the beginning, right here around line 39, there's a COM port number. That's for your FTDI cable. Make sure you change that. So now you know that both of your folders are being followed by Git, and you can download updates from GitHub. So same thing here with RFD. You can go into Git Bash. If there's any updates, you can type in git pull, and that will check to see if your code is up to date. So hopefully that helps give folks enough information on how to get their code from GitHub. I may do another example with a couple of other repositories we use for the Eclipse project. If not, there's lots of resources online if you want to research GitHub some more. But that should get you by and get all the new code for the antenna tracker and the ground station. We have made recent changes to antenna tracker, so it's not a bad idea to do a git pull and update the code that's in there. We will be unplugging the old database here in a couple weeks. This is May 2nd that I made this video. Somewhere around, I don't know, May 15th or so, that old database will be unplugged. So make sure you do a git pull on your antenna tracker folder, or delete and reclone your antenna tracker folder to get the newest antenna tracker code. If you have any questions, check out the forum, eclipsedesign.proboards.com, and we'll see you next time.